I'm Amanda Silver.
And I'm Alex Howard.
And this is Dirty Laundry.
So,
what's going on?
What is going on? How have you been?
I've been good. I tried something new for the first time yesterday.
Ooh,
well, I took your recommendation.
Oh, I love when people take my recommendations.
I mean, you're so resourceful.
So many of them.
Yeah, you've got so many. Just like
organize always my life. Do as I say, not as I do.
So I went for acupuncture for the first time.
And
it was like weird.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird sensation.
Did you get like the sort of tinglies and like electric shock almost?
No.
Okay, good.
Was I supposed to get
No, sometimes mine get real spicy.
Okay.
Like when they twist it and then it's like.
Oh, when like it first goes in?
No, like when they come back around and like twist it, make it harder, I guess, or let's say more intense.
Okay, so we didn't do that. I think because this was my first.
Maybe as a newbie.
I'm a newbie.
Yeah.
And like he put them a few in my hand, behind my neck, all down my back. And then like as soon as he put them in my neck, I like kind of stood up. And I was like, he's like, no, don't do that. I was
don't
like,
move.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And did it hurt then?
That hurt a little bit, but then I like calmed down and like tried to like embrace it. But it's a weird sensation.
It's an odd thing, especially for the first time, right?
Yeah. And I think next time I go into it, I'll like know what I'm in for. But then I also did cupping.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It's a little
my most favorite thing.
Really? How often do you cup?
Well, not as much as I used to.
I look like I've been through. You know.
Yeah. I used to do it. Yeah, low back and all like
marks and
Botox. Yes,
it's all.
But don't you like get so excited by the idea that like
you're pulling? That to me, the sensation of like pulling the muscle away, that like sore muscle away, was like
new blood.
Yeah, I was like, this has got to be good. This has got to be good.
Yeah.
And then they leave the suction cups on.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a weird.
Oh, I love it so much.
But I'm definitely gonna do it again.
Yes, good.
Yes.
And how was the after? Like, was it noticeable? You felt more relaxed?
Felt like a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, I think I need a few more.
You could move your neck a little bit more easily.
Yeah, I felt a bit better. Yeah. Like a lot of, especially with like computer and phone, it's like you're constantly like hunched over. So this was like a great thing. I highly recommend.
Yeah, and it is a good reminder also to like take new positions on the phone and on the computer.
I know.
I've been tempted by a standing desk, but then I still feel like I'm hunching.
With a standing desk.
Yeah. It's like how they say you should never sit in a chair, only ever on the floor if you're going to sit, because it's so uncomfortable that it reminds your body to keep moving. Because we're not meant to sit for hours.
I know.
In like your fucking, lazy boy, just living your best life. Like you're actually meant to be moving.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, I sit on the floor for 2 minutes and it's excruciating.
I used to sit on the floor a lot when I was teaching.
Oh, I bet.
And I liked it.
Yeah.
I was like more comfortable on the floor for like a while.
And because you found you had to like keep moving and stuff, right? And readjusting.
Well, it was just because I was in kindergarten. Like, so I was always on the floor with the kids. And for me, like that was my comfort, was like just, I would rather be on the floor.
Yeah. So maybe instead of a standing desk, we just need like a floor desk.
Like you mean, yes.
Just the floor.
Like a coffee table? Should I?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll try that.
That's a possibility.
Coffee table. All right.
So you know what I'm really jazzed about? What? Today's guest.
I know. She's so funny.
She is funny. And
I love having comedians on. It's so nice to like be able to laugh, because some of the work that we do is very serious.
It's very heavy. And we do try and like mix things up with like an intense episode and like maybe one that's just a bit more, not frivolous, because that makes it sound unimportant, because I believe it is important to laugh. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just lighter and sort of balance out like the heavy and more informative, I guess, episodes with like, sometimes you just need to laugh.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're in the mood for a giggle, this is going to be the episode for you. And if you're not, save it for a time when you need a good belly laugh.
Yes.
So Michele is based in New York. She is a comedian. She does stand-up as well as a couple shows. She is divorced, of course, which is how we came across her. Yes. And we're going to talk about her show and her dating life and everything that comes with it, being a single mom and navigating dating.
And putting it all out there on stage.
All out there. Every day. The stage is the hardest. Comedy, like stand-up comedians.
I'm just in awe of them.
I have so much respect.
They have to have such, like the self-deprecating part of their work.
Which is my favorite kind of humor.
Which is so funny because you relate to them. Yeah. But you're like, I relate, but I can never say that.
I'm so impressed that they could do it.
I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
So welcome, Michele.
Yeah, welcome, Michele. Thanks for being on the DL.
I'll just literally, I'll do a rant in front of my laundry basket. And my dirty laundry is about all the dirty men that I've dated.
I love it. I love it. Well, that's kind of what we were hoping to talk to you about today. Dating, just the pile of men that's beside your pile of laundry.
The pile of men that have caused my bedroom to be a big thing of dirty laundry because they stink. No, most of the... I actually had a threat this weekend. It's not a threat. I mean, he told me he was going to report my Instagram account if I put him in my material anymore.
Oh.
What a pussy, right? Am I allowed to say that?
You can say anything you want on dirty laundry.
We spill it all. All that tea gets spilled, so don't hold back.
Oh, I have a lot of tea spill.
Tea, we're ready.
Okay, Michelle, wait, before we get too into the weeds.
Okay, sorry.
No, this is so great. I just wanted to say, hi, Michelle. Welcome to Dirty Laundry. And just, maintain some semblance of professionalism for our podcast.
We take all the professionals and we throw it out the window.
But no, we are super jazzed to have you on. And for our listeners, we just kind of wanted to maybe start with like a bit of your story. You were in education, then you were an actor, now you're in stand-up, and you're divorced and dating. And we want all of it. But let's maybe go back a few.
Yeah, I'll give you the trailer version. I've always been an actor. I started out in second grade dancing, right? I was from a dancer to I majored in theater in college. I always was an actor first. I didn't become a teacher till I actually met my ex-husband because, priorities were shifting, which sounds kind of silly because acting is where my heart is at. I mean, and comedy is in there, dance is in there, writing is in there, but I'm a performer. I love storytelling through my craft and helping people. So when I went into, I got my theater degree, I toured with children's theater and musical theater and doing the dream. I studied improv in New York City. I was doing sketch shows. I was in the heat of it. And then I met my ex-husband and I totally started to shift what I wanted to do because I did want to start a family. I did want to be closer to him and not travel so much. A lot of acting jobs take you out of town. The ones that pay take you out of town unless you're on Broadway or off Broadway or figuring it out. Now, that was then. Now, I, got my master's in educational theater, learned how to use my craft to help children grow and learn, found a second passion for that. I learned how to be an actor every day in my classroom, which was really exciting. But when I got the journey of my marriage and unfortunately resulting in divorce, it just made me also realize how much I really wanted to just be performing again, not just teaching. So eventually I went back into doing comedy, but stand up instead of improv. And I started creating Divorce Diaries as my one woman show because I had done one woman plays before. So the first performance ever, I believe, was in 2015 at Emerging Artist Theater New Work Series. And it's evolved into a one-woman touring comedy show. It is an award-winning TV pilot that is going to be distributed globally March 29th, I think the date is. So you'll be able to get that on certain platforms. It is also the live version of the show is a comedy special, also on Amazon Prime. You can get now. So yeah.
Hey,
and I
so
wanted to be a TV series. So that's the goal of it, to be on all platforms as a television series. The Office meets American Mom on amphetamines type show.
Are you planning a Canadian tour anytime soon?
I would love to come to Canada. Tell my manager. I mean, yes, I think that the idea to come to another country is to make sure that my following and my ticket numbers are up because, that's a big thing in the comedy world. Like your numbers have to be up for places to book your show. Right. So 110%, I'd love to come to Canada.
Okay,
I love you guys.
We'll put a pin in it. Yeah, you keep us posted.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about the show, because I know from basically just being your new stalker on Instagram, there is what kind of stuff are you up to? Are you doing these like stopping folks in the street to have some Q&A?
So the MOS or man on the street or woman on the street kind of stuff is part of my content. In addition to doing Divorce Diaries, I'm an actor. I do a lot of commercials. I've been getting booked on mostly commercials. I am the host of a show called What's Up New York that is on ny2c.com. And we do this man on the street segment. So I was like, this would be fun for Divorce Diaries too. So I do a lot of that content, and I have a web series on my YouTube channel where I do storylines based off my life, and in between I ask New Yorkers questions based on co-parenting, dating, any kind of relevant thing. What's a red flag for you?
Yes. That's one of my questions.
Guy, right?
We want to talk about the red flag guy.
Oh, you want to talk about him? Is he hot?
Yeah,
so
super hot.
My friend Vic plays him on the series. Okay. I have a lot of red flags in my back pocket.
There's too many.
Many. What?
We need more green flag guys.
Yeah.
Right? Green flags. Here's the thing. The red flag guy character, all the characters are based off of my experiences. And some men like that, some don't.
Right.
Like I said, I have somebody who's really mad at me. And actually I'm really mad at him too, because I feel like he used me, but yeah, I feel like that a lot of the times, but he's mad because I took a joke and he feels like I created a joke that was based off something he said.
Mm-hmm.
And, I felt like, come on, man, that's kind of funny that you even said that. Like,
but also,
you know how I feel about you. Like, I'm not touching your pack. Assume that that's why you want to commit to me. No.
And also date a comedian. What do you expect?
Exactly.
Like, if it doesn't go well, you're going to hear about it on stage.
Well, this is the thing. I don't aim to like hurt anybody. My goal is to share my experiences and to be very honest, self-deprecate my own fucking stupidity. Falling for the same guy, just a different costume, and help someone else. Make them feel like you're not alone. Like I literally felt so bad when I got into this texting war with the guy who didn't like my stand-up material because I really did care for him and I felt hurt by him and his lack of effort. That's why I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. I'm like, all right, you want to be a jerk? I'm creating from it.
Yeah, that's like the least you could get. Most people just have a bad date. They don't get to have content. They don't get to have material that they can then, use to monetize. So really, you're doing the women of this world a service.
Well, that's my dream, is to be a superhero for all women that feel self-doubt, not worth it, that have been triggered by some kind of trauma, and a guy makes them feel less than. And I really envision this comedian, this character being a superhero and just taking these men and dumping them in the trash where they belong.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. And we have a similar MO, I think, of just, the divorce life sucks. So how can we bring some levity and some fun and normalize it so that people don't feel so shitty about their circumstances?
Well, also marriage life sucks sometimes.
Also true.
That's
true. No, 100%. It's bang on. It's
People
bang
are
on.
so quick to just focus on the negative of divorce life, and like marriage life is like this quiet, like hush hush, like group that you're not allowed to talk about because marriage is up there and
in
it's
fact
on a pedestal.
If more people talked about how difficult marriage was, I bet you there would be less divorce.
I bet you there would be, because then they would feel that they're not alone,
or less walking down like.
Yeah, less marriages.
My parents' marriage was a happy story. Like I love. That's why I got divorced, and that's a part of my stand-up routine, right? But it's actually something I said to my friends in passing one day, and they started laughing, and I was like, "You think that's?" I said, "But it's the truth. I love. That's why I got divorced. When I realized this is not going to lead us down a happy road, and in a way that this isn't working out. We can either stay miserable for the rest of our lives, like I come from an old school Italian family. That's what people did. But my parents really were in love, till the day my dad, rest his soul, died. And honestly, I struggle because I think at this point in my life, I've been single for quite some time, on and off for the last 8 years. Right. Not real committed relationships where it's like, am I really going to be alone? Am I not going to find my partner? And I think that the humor of going through these dating fails is what may help people, man or woman, like me, that do have the faith, but just feel like they keep getting knocked down. And it's not I feel like sometimes people interact, when I roast the men I date, they oh, you're a man bashing. I'm like, no, I'm really not. I really love men, but I don't like being taken advantage of. And I'm working on not giving enough, not giving all of myself. I tend to do that.
Give all of yourself to
and
a relationship.
It's hard not to.
It's because you love and you want that happily ever after. You want what your parents had.
You're romantic.
And why not? Everyone should find that.
Totally. So tell us a little bit about the dating, because obviously, you're as a single mom, you're also juggling schedule of children and all of that, plus going out. Like, what is it like? What is it like as a mom trying to get back out in the world and like feeling sexy again when it's always easy to do, postpartum, if you will.
No. So when I first got divorced, so I've been divorced almost 9 years, and I'm still a mess. No,
a hot mess.
I am a hot mess and I own it. No, here's the difference. From 9 years, almost 9 years ago, I was just thinking I was going to find the real love of my life by the time I was 40, maybe have more kids. That's in my thought process. I didn't realize eventually when I was like, wait, I need to get back to being on stage and on front of the camera. That was really going to take the most focus, which I'm glad it has. But I was very invested in finding the one right away. Pretty much like a year after I got divorced. Okay. I was like ready. I want to be in a relationship.
Okay. So not just dating, but ready to like get committed again. And
I say that like I'm always ready.
Okay.
Just like people say like when you're not looking, it'll happen. No, I will always be looking. I'll be, God forbid I pass and I'm buried 5,500 feet below. My ass will still be looking if a hot man walks by without a wedding ring. Okay. That's the reality.
It's so funny how your eyes quickly go to that hand. It's like, do you look for that flash of metal? Like, oh shit.
Well, and some of them don't wear it too, which is unfortunate. They don't
wear the ring so we know.
Yeah, mine doesn't wear his ring
because they think that we like
single
them.
ladies.
Yeah.
No, and also you got to look on their Instagram story. Some men switch it to the other hand. Apparently, it's some fucking shady shit. So
bullshit.
Right. And then sometimes they're in a relationship and you don't know. So it's hard. So the dating, I first dated like a younger guy, which was a disaster. He was just like out for sex. I was kind of just out for sex too, but then I got feelings. I will always catch feelings if I feel like there's chemistry. I think that I have probably made the worst decisions with the men that I choose to like engage with in intimacy.
Right.
Because they are not available emotionally and they can't give me a relationship. Yeah. I've tried and then I've also been on the other end where I don't feel the same way back. But I've dated, I date a lot of Latin guys. I've dated many Latin guys where I like the passion and the fire. I don't know. It's a thing. It's been one disaster after the next. The cop can't commit. The coach who was married. Yep. I know what your viewers are going to think. She's a whore. I'm not. I trusted somebody I shouldn't have. And I made a bad mistake. And I just fell down a rabbit hole of bad decisions and bad patterns. And then the pandemic happened. And I was like, I fell for a producer who was in LA and I was in Jersey and I had a 4-day romance with him. And I thought he was the one. And he basically ghosted me. Horrible.
I just think that's the absolute worst thing you could do. Like, I know all the kids are doing it these days, but I don't understand it. It's cruel.
Well, he ghosted me for a couple of reasons. Probably because I did do a lot of content around him. He told me to. He told me.
Oh, well, that's mismessaging.
He got consent for content. So what does he want?
Content consent.
Right. So there was that. Then and the most recent guy was a friend who I really did think there would be something, but he got out of a serious relationship. He was married, his second marriage. They got divorced, and then 7 months later asked me out. We had a great time, but then like the stand-up comedy and my content really, he did not like being connected to it.
I wonder if that's going to be an issue with just that sort of like performance lifestyle, right? Because the best content really is the stuff that is that sort of mundane everyday stuff, because that's the most relatable. This is like why Seinfeld is, so successful. It's just, it's in the nothingness.
The observations of every day.
Yeah.
I think to be with someone who is on stage, you have to be okay with being a part of their act.
Exactly.
Right? And not have that.
With them airing out all your dirty laundry.
Exactly. You have to be okay with it
or
it's not going to work. Like, don't waste your time.
So that's why I love the title of your podcast, because the dirty laundry part is like, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
I don't think I've shared every single detail of my life, but pretty close. And I have a child and I have to be aware that, she's happy with what I do. Like, I'm very vocal about what I do, but like, if she doesn't want to be on camera or no, of course not. Same thing with my partner, my, my significant other. I hadn't had the issue up until a couple, like 2-3 years ago. The producer was one example where he liked everything, but then the second he was a butt of a joke, I don't want to say the butt of a joke, but when I created from it, like he said, and after we had this romance, I think his feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
But I was mostly self-deprecating. But then when I felt that there was a argument we had about what I felt he did to me, and he didn't agree, and it was this whole ego thing. So the content is one thing. I share personal journey on my podcast, on my Divorce Diaries podcast, which I'd love to have you guys on as well.
Definitely.
And like, I had a guy I was about to start dating, and he couldn't handle it. He's like, I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I like you, but I can't.
Yeah, the spotlight's not for everybody.
It's fair, and I think I appreciate that people are forthcoming. It's just like,
but also expectation management. Like, what do they expect? Like, you have such a public persona.
Yeah, and I do think like a lot of them I do meet through my show too. Like this one guy I'm still friends with, very sweet guy. But I kind of was heartbroken about a few things, and there was a religious barrier because he wanted to be with somebody who was his religion, and then I was like, well, I don't want to convert before the first date.
Right.
So, like, reality. But then also the major issue was that I would talk about it on the podcast, and he didn't like that. And I was like, but this is part of my job. Like, I like doing this. I like sharing my journey. So though the concern I am working on right now is like, I don't want to scare guys that have potential to be a life partner away. But then at the same time, like, you really do have to embrace your partner. And part of the problem I had in my marriage was that I shifted who I was even before getting married to make sure I was going to be the partner that my ex-husband really felt comfortable with, which in reality isn't going to last.
No,
right. Because that's not, I'm me.
Yeah. I think so many people, so many women especially do that. And I don't even think they notice.
Yeah.
They don't even realize whether they give up a career opportunity, or maybe they don't go for that second degree, or whatever it is. They change who they are to fit the mold of what they think that they should be.
Yeah.
And then it catches up with them.
Because their husband doesn't like it, but they liked the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky. And I almost want to say, like, your first real love is performing, is the comedy. And so now you're almost having to once again face this, sort of difficult decision of, do I once again shrink myself, change who I am, and change what I love to do for a man? Or do I maybe have to resign myself to a life of independence and happiness in performance and in the work you do?
Or finding someone who just accepts you for who you are.
I mean, that would be the ultimate marriage.
Like, find a podcaster, right? Exactly. Find a podcaster, put your podcast together.
This producer worked in my industry and was a podcaster.
Oh, wow.
So this is the thing. I think there's a fine line. I agree with you. You have to find something that's going to embrace you. Well, I think he didn't like the content. See, so I think there's a couple of things here. I think there's ego involved. Honestly,
always ego.
If somebody is talking about me that I had, look, like if I have feelings for you, I'm putting you in the show. It's the truth.
It's your love language.
And almost you would be more insulted to not be in the show, because it's like, oh, was I just so boring and vanilla that there was nothing to talk about?
Yes. I have a crush on somebody right now who like, I would want to, like, if we were ever to start dating, I would have a conversation right from the get-go. Look, I'm not sharing anything until you're okay with it, because I like really see, just off the 2 times I've spent with him in person, I really value his energy. And it's not to say I didn't value the other guy's energy, but I also come from a space of where I've been burned and hurt and used. I have a lot of trauma in my past with men where I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting walked all over. You don't like it, there's the door. But this guy's different. And I'm not to say that the guy that I was last with was different. I really am sad that right now it feels like we were friends. you broke up with somebody 9 months later, 6 months later, you ask me out. And then the second I put something on my Instagram story about me getting annoyed about something you did, I said I was going to deliver his balls to his face if he didn't undeliver my message.
He was upset? I don't understand why.
Most men would understand that you can't physically take your balls and deliver them to your face.
They probably tried.
You can try. And I honestly apologize. I mean, really profusely apologize. I may have talked about our sexual experience on an Instagram live, but I talked about it positively. Like I was like, oh, he made me finish. And he said that. And I was like, well, wouldn't you be more disappointed if I said he didn't make me finish?
Right?
Did you talk about size?
I don't probably, but it was good. Size. Like, exactly. Like, why would I?
If it's a negative, guys might not be so happy with that. If it's a positive, it's like, woohoo.
It was a positive. I was beyond thrilled to find that we were physically compatible on top of emotionally being compatible. And the fact is, he didn't want me to do that. And his friends found out. He sent his friend to my page, and then his friend was like, yo, what the fuck?
Oh, no.
Well, I guess it goes back to having that conversation prior.
I feel like I'm having a lot of like middle school vibes. You know what I mean? Where it's like the friend is like doing the dirty work for the other friend, and it's like all gossipy and everyone just cares
elementary.
about.
It's very elementary. Yes. Well, that's the nature of the game.
You guys are younger than me. How old are you guys?
Oh, well, a lady never shares her age.
Oh, I just turned 40. I'm no lady. I have no problem sharing.
I'm 37.
37. Okay, I guess around that. So 42. These men in their 50s are acting like straight out babies that need diapers to take care of their shit. Okay, get out of here with that nonsense. You should be blessed that I'm talking about your fucking mediocre dick.
Right?
Sorry.
They should thank you.
You think you are?
They should thank you. Really,
So
they really
funny.
should.
You are too much, Michelle. But in all seriousness, in speaking about babies, how do you manage with your daughter? You've kind of alluded to her, trying to keep her life a little bit separate. I'm not even talking about online because that's a whole other conversation, but just in the dating world. Like, have you introduced her to past relationships? Like, how do you navigate all of that? No,
I never introduced anybody. I don't introduce her to guys. She does know now, as she's older, that she'll hear me. Oh, I'm like talking to Peter. I'm talking to Marco.
Yeah.
Right.
Ixnay their names. Whoops.
Well,
that's all right.
We'll beep those out.
We're
Right?
talking to men.
Yeah, she'll know of them, but I don't introduce her to them unless I have never introduced her to anybody, actually. There's one guy I dated for like 2 months that she met because of a family member that knew him too, and he came over for Christmas. Like, it wasn't like he bought her a little Christmas. It was just a very indiscreet, and like him and I were only together for 2 months. It wasn't working. It wasn't anything big.
Right.
But I haven't had the opportunity to meet somebody special enough, honestly. And having open dialogue with my daughter about what I do, that, there are great men out there, and she knows this. My dad is one, her dad is one, all this other stuff, her other grandfather's one, like, is important, but also identifying that everyone has flaws, and that sometimes, like, it's just like right now, mommy hasn't found the right partner, and I date. When I do date, I tend to, like I said, she hears me poke fun sometimes when I'm writing material, I'm editing something. I was like, trust me, she gets that it's comedy, but that but I'm not gonna lie, because I have a hard shell about, bye-bye, there's the door. Yeah. I am in a phase right now, especially in the last month or two, where I've been really sad about not having that partner. And it's not like, oh, I'm gonna be alone. It's not so much the loneliness. It's more about the intimacy and wanting to share that with a partner. And it's been so long. If not, I actually don't think I've ever had the right intimate partner and intimacy. So it hurts my soul. And I don't need to get serious, but that's where a lot of me creating from the hurt helps me, because, it's hard some days. It's like, I really want that. I question what's wrong with me. I know that's not the right thing to do, but it hurts. And I really want that life partner. So, it's a roller coaster. I'm trying to be as open with my daughter about the process as possible without significantly causing her lots of childhood trauma that she didn't have before.
you worried you're going to run out of content if you find the right person and settle down?
Not at all. Because there's
so
always
much new content.
I think that my partner would want to create content with me and just be my best friend. That's the ultimate goal, right? For your partner to share with you in the joy of what you love to do.
Mm-hmm. But so much of comedy kind of comes out of that hurt and of the disappointment that if things
that's what fuels the comedy.
Yeah.
Like they say so many comedians are like, going through a lot of like struggle, and they have a lot of like past, trauma, and they've taken that and turned it into something funny.
Well, yeah, I think that, when I'm on stage and I hear an audience laugh at my joke, it's probably so rewarding just to help connect an audience. It's also, there's a question there of like, why do I need that validation helps me in a way, and connecting that to my life and making that appropriate balance, right? Where it's not like, it's a healthy thing. It's not like, I need this, otherwise I don't feel good about myself. No, not at all. But it's a great feeling to connect your story to someone else who can feel better about it, about their own life.
No, but like, let's be clear. Everybody wants validation of some kind. It's the reason why we are all on social media, or we love, telling a story at a dinner party when all eyes are on us and everyone has a good giggle or some kind of a, emotion of some sort. Like that does fuel a connection, a sense of belonging, like all of those things. That's how humans interact. We kind of need that validation, I guess. So some people are way better at it and can make a career out of it, like yourself. And some of us just stick to dinner parties.
No, I think it's all relative too. Like it's honestly a big matter of what you want and how you're going to go out and do it, as opposed to just not talk about it, but take action. So if you really want to do something in life, you got to put your mind to it. I mean, I think that, I think that within the world of divorce, dating, co-parenting, there's so many different ways for us to get stuck in imposter syndrome, right? And get stuck. Whereas sometimes you just need to take a leap of faith and take the action, even if it's a small action, right? Like I've been struggling to get up at 5 a.m. to do my 5 a.m. writers club, where I just write for a half an hour. Wow. So what's the motivation to get my booty up is there's something happening that I can do the writers club and then just sit and relax for a few minutes. Something, right? Something has to motivate you to get up and do it. You got to hit that point though, where you're like, I'm at rock bottom. I got to get up and do it.
And it's hard to do that when, like you talked earlier about like competing with other parents at school, and like the fact that you're trying to be mom and dad at the same time. And it's a lot of pressure. I know, like I'm a single mom, and it's a lot. It's a lot to try and keep up with everything. And then step out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there and try different things, whether it be with careers or with dating.
The moms, when I used to when I started Divorce Diaries, I was talking about the daycare moms and how they all wanted to set me up with somebody, and it was always like not great guys. They're like, well, he's good for like a 3-month relationship. I'm like,
do you find that happens a lot where other moms try and set you up and like it doesn't go well? Because
so yes, I got in date, not anymore so much, but like I've had moms will like, even friend moms that will be like my colleagues from work, but are their moms too. They're like, do you think he's cute? And they'll send me the picture, and I'm like, what the fuck do you think of me? And it's not to shame the guy, but it's like, this is not my type at all.
And they just send you someone that they know that's single just because they're single and divorced.
That's the only criteria?
That's the only criteria. It's like, who do I know? I don't want who do you know. I want someone that you could see me with. Not like, oh, I know Joe who is divorced. Like, and then they hit,
And then they're mad if you don't like them.
And they're like, but ugly.
They feel rejected
like,
also.
What? No.
Ugly or good looking, but they can have their shit. They cannot have their shit together. It doesn't matter. I do a joke in my set about this, where it's like, oh my gosh, you're divorced. My husband's best friend's landscaper's mother's best friend's neighbor's son is divorced. You guys should meet. He had kids. He has kids that he sees through FaceTime. What? Like, come on. It's any fucking craft singles. It's like the craft singles of men. Sorry. The craft singles. You know craft singles?
Oh, yeah, I do.
It's like, that's the kind of men that people try to set me up with. Hey, I might be a craft singles to somebody, but like, I'm good. I'll pick it out if I want a craft singles.
It's like if they have a heartbeat and they're divorced.
That's it.
That's it.
It's a perfect match.
I don't even have that.
Yeah, I know. And they're like, what's wrong with him? Why can't you give him a chance?
You have to be open to other possibilities. Oh, fuck off.
You don't need to be physically attracted right away. Go on a few more dates.
I feel like I just entered a whole other world.
It's a club. It's a club. And you don't want to, like, I don't want to offend them. Just like, no, not really my type. What do you mean they're not your type? I'm like, well, I don't know.
What are you, too good for the landscaper?
I'm like, oh, you know, the belly and the, you know.
So here's the thing. I will bet, like, not to be like grotesque, but not grotesque, but vulgar. But if you don't have that chemistry right out the gate, get away. Like, what's wrong with it? It doesn't even matter the looks. If you have to meet someone in person, if you have chemistry, game on. The setup is already uncomfortable because when you have a setup, you already are put on the spot. So I try to set people up too, and then you feel bad. I always like to do it incognito, where it's like, come to my show. And then I have single ladies there. I've had friends who I've set up with, they've hooked up and they gotten together.
Matchmaker.
I don't go out and match make them. I just throw them all in a pot and say, y'all
soft matchmaking. It's more, yeah.
People think that they're coming to get divorced, but they're coming to hook up.
So if you could give your friends maybe like some tips about how to set somebody up that's single, that's divorced, what would you say?
Just invite a group of single people to hang out. Don't do it directly. I think it puts a lot of pressure on everybody. I am a proponent, like if somebody like I'm around, like people see me now on a lot of the social media stuff because of this Divorce Diaries, What's Up New York, all the other stuff I've done. People will say, hey, I have a friend who asked about you. Can I give him your number? Now, I've had that happen. And I'm like, give him my Facebook, give him my Instagram. And I talked with somebody last year who was very sweet. I just didn't meet him because I was like, I don't think my brain is there. Like, I don't, like, it's just like the dating apps. I'm not there. I have a crush on somebody else. I'm still kind of figuring out it's overwhelming to meet these people. Then if you don't have chemistry in person, it's like a waste of time. And I don't have the time to waste. No one has time to waste, but I feel like right now, any minute I take away from my daughter or getting a stand-up spot, if I'm not already working on another gig, I'm screwed. I'm not going to get a step further or fill my potential the way I want to fulfill as a mom. If I wasted my time with Mr. Joe Schmo, who I never met in person.
You've got different priorities.
And I think a single working mother time is so precious because like you said, you know, you want to go on a date with me. Well, that means I'm taking away time from making money, from being with my kids. It's gotta be worthwhile, right? They gotta be special. It's
gotta be worthwhile. And also, like right now, the crush I have, I would drop things to go expensive. But I wouldn't say I would drop things, but I would make some wiggle room. There's men where you're like, I'm sure it's great. I just don't like. My friend says like, well, you have to put in the time. You have to put in some time for it. I'm like, I don't want to put in time for the same bullshit.
Right.
Like, you know, that's why creating content for me is if I always wanted to do like a stand in Times Square. I don't know where are you guys again exactly?
In Toronto. We're just due north of Times Square.
So you guys are a big mecca, like where filming happens and everything. So where in Toronto did you say would be like a Times Square?
Literally Yonge and Dundas Square. We I think modeled it after your Times Square.
I mean, it's nothing like
it's terrible.
It's a wannabe, but okay, we'll go with it.
So let's say I stood there with a sign that said swipe right on me and I would just see who'd come up. I would record that as content and just fucking see if I met somebody. Because then I'm killing two birds with one stone.
See, this is a good use of time. This is like, you know how they have girl math and mom math? It's all like this whole trend that I barely can understand. You need like single girl math where you are double dipping, right? You're potentially finding a mate, but if that doesn't go, you know, the way you want it, you've got content for months and years you could live off of.
I mean, that's why I would do a dating show is because like I killed two birds with one stone. Other than that, like I think the dating apps and all that other stuff is very overwhelming. And I'm not where I was years ago of really actively looking for a partner. I do have a crush on somebody, but I don't think he is emotionally available. So I'm trying to figure out how to I'm just trying to let myself not think about it and just go with the flow.
Maybe that's not the guy for you then.
I was
saying the opposite?
I was going to suggest, like, do you want us to reach out to him and we can like mediate a session of the two of you of like the opposite of what we do?
Matchmaking instead of unravel.
Yeah.
Well, what you could do is just put the energy out there. Like my medium says, I write notes manifesting it. I think that I met him for the right reasons. It's just that it's not the right time. I don't know what he's thinking about me.
Timing is also important. Right.
He just broke up with somebody like a month ago, so I don't want to be the rebound.
No. And this way you have a little bit more opportunities to meet some other red flag guys and post some more fun videos that we can follow along.
Can you just tell me quickly what a red flag guy is? Because Alex has been all over it, and she's been. I mean, I've met some red flag guys, but I want to know from your perspective.
Okay, great. I would love to hear what your perspective is. Red flag guy doesn't want to take you out on a weekend, doesn't know how to spell your name correctly, and does not respond to your text messages within a 1 hour time frame, which is a big time frame. Yeah. Those are the 3 bullet points.
Yeah, I just think you're right. Like, you should be prioritized, especially in the beginning, right? Fine, you're married for 10 years. He takes all day to respond to your text message, but really it was like, what do you want for dinner? And quite frankly, nobody cares. So fair.
Right.
But in the beginning, you got to have the fireworks. You got to be prioritized. Make a nice reservation. Put forth some effort. Because at the beginning, if you're putting forth nothing, but here's the flip side. I love that I'm challenging my own self.
Like,
internal debate.
Should I be scared? Oh my gosh.
Because, I think we were talking about this on another episode where we all are so, let's say, performative or like our best version in the early dating. And then the reality sets in and you're like, if only I was just my regular self and this person fell for my regular, Sunday sweatsuit
maybe
self.
That's their best. Like maybe that's their performative.
But that's the question.
Like responding 6 hours later when really they're going to respond 12 hours later.
Right. So that's definitely
right now. The thing is, in the beginning of divorce, like you're saying about putting yourself out there, who you are right from the get-go, I hid my crazy side. And no, I'm not crazy, but I am a relationship person and I would hide. Oh, it's okay. Now I'm like, no, you need to be hitting me up on a regular basis if you're sleeping with me, and you need to be monogamous. And I don't want, like, I'm okay with saying that right out the front. Like, I want a monogamous relationship. I want great sex. I want a partner that's a friend, but that lets me have my time. And I'll do the same back, but don't be shady.
Yeah.
Like the texting and the communication, this last guy didn't do well. And then when he was sending, but a couple of days ago, I sent, let's talk, like an idiot that I am, because I wanted to have closure. He sent me threads of messages of hate.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, look who's liking the text messaging now. Like, I mean, hate after hate. Like, you know, you just scroll through.
Oh my God. I mean, if that's not a red flag. And that's the dodge the bullet person, right? Where it's like you see the side that comes out so quickly. There's a conflict. And you're like, shit, I made the right choice.
You made the right choice. Yeah. You got out of dodge just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Just being cognizant of time. You have 1 minute to spare. Amanda, last questions.
So much fun, by the way.
I know. I wish you had more time. We'll have to do a part 2.
We can do a part 2. Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
What is the biggest, and you might have already shared this in one of your episodes, but what is the biggest, dirtiest laundry piece in your laundry basket as of today in your dating world? Like, I slept with someone in a locker room.
I fell asleep once.
Wait,
during sex. That was pretty bad.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, he was pretty bad, obviously, but that was
like you fell asleep.
Like, literally fell asleep. But I woke up like, oh shit, we're still doing this? Still going on? Not my proudest moment, I will say.
I once had to kick a guy out of my house because he came over on like the third date with an overnight bag.
Oh, that's presumptuous.
And I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, I brought my overnight bag. And I'm like, nope. Like,
there's your
Mama's gotta go to bed. Off you go.
Here's the door.
Yeah, there's the door. He's like, but aren't you tired? I'm like, yeah, that's why you're leaving.
Exactly.
Bye.
Well,
I love it.
There you go.
You're so funny.
Thanks,
Such a fresh
Michele.
breath of fresh air.
So
Thank
fun
you.
to chat.
Let's do this
You guys
again.
are the best.
We'll make some more magic very soon. But good luck to your daughter in the dance competition. And
Thank you. Gymnastics.
oh, gymnastics.
I know, but that's okay. No, yeah. Dance, gymnastics, throw it all out there. We'll do it all.
Putting it out to the universe.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Take care, Michele.
Guys, take care.
You too.
Bye.
This episode was written and created by Alex Howard and Amanda Silver. Produced, edited, and engineered by RTF Productions. Make sure to rate and review our show if you loved it, and give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcast to stay up to date on all upcoming episodes. Thanks for listening, and go easy on us. We're not your ex.